Kyle Klingman with Track Wrestling. We have Ivanov. He is the founder of Suples Training Bags. How are you, Ivan?
I'm doing awesome, Kyle. Thank you.
I love these bags, man. I love these bags. You have more than just bags, but let's just talk about this bag that you created. Where did this come from?
Well, the idea came, of course, from wrestling. All my ideas came because of the sport of wrestling. And especially talking about the Bulgarian bag, I was looking to bring a tool right on the mats and duplicate a lot of these rotational exercises that we need in wrestling. And that my specialty, especially with the Greco-Roman, we wrestle a lot of upper body, so we do have a lot of rotational exercises that can duplicate a wrestling technique, for example. And also, what I was looking to do is to bring a training tool that I can bring on the mat and can target the grip training, the muscular endurance training, and be able to conduct a workout with multiple wrestlers at the same time and have an effective workout, conducting the workout just by myself, as a coach. And I was able, as soon as I made these bags to the way I want them and to be durable, they were always part of my strength and conditioning training.
And I think the one thing that I like about it is that it's kind of dispersed dead weight. And so with wrestling, as you talk about Greco-Roman throwing someone, it's not just a barbell at each side, it's weight throughout. And I think that's very effective.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of athletes who never use the Bulgarian bag and don't know what it is, they always, a lot of them, most of them, are underestimating the weight of the bag. They think it's too light, and we have light bags, but we have bags up to like 84-pound bags for the exercises that I consider as a core exercises. With the Bulgarian bag, it's quite heavy, and if they don't have experience using these bags in the way that we are showing in our videos, they're gonna have hard time with the weights of handling these weights. And especially, I can give you another example because everybody knows Adam Wheeler is one of my athletes who actually started on the Bulgarian bag. The heaviest bag I used at that time was 37 pounds. And Adam was using it, and everybody knows Adam Wheeler. He's our last Olympic medalist. He was bronze medalist in Beijing. He was using the 37-pound bag, and was enough for him at that time, because the first application I had to use in wrestling with these bags were the muscular endurance training. Being able to use the bag for 30-40 minutes without stopping, basically. It's just 10 seconds rest time in between the sets, 3 to 5 sets per exercise, and just keep everybody in training, and just drop the bag, shake hands, get back on the next set. Especially with those dynamic exercises that I created, that I find very, very beneficial to the sport of wrestling. That's a heck of a workout. It's not about doing 5 curls or 10 squats and just go sit down or watch your biceps. No, it's just get out there, make the squats jump squats or vertical jump, and make the reps not 5, make the reps 15 and up, for example. And don't rest 1 minute or 2, rest 10 seconds. That's what wrestlers who are training for performance should do with these bags. And a lot of people don't understand that, and they think, oh, it's too light. Or I very often tease the bodybuilders, because you see a bodybuilder spinning this bag. Wow, for us, he's like, we laugh at this, because they're so so much muscles, but they don't have the mobility, they don't have the flexibility, especially they fail when it comes to muscular endurance training. So anyway, in other words, I tell these fitness people or bodybuilders not to mess with these exercises on the Bulgarian bag, because they're gonna get, they're gonna look funny, in other words. But anyway, I can talk about these bags forever.
Well, and the unique part is you also have the handles on the top that you can use, and then the red straps. Was that something you put on the bag as you had different iterations of this Bulgarian bag?
Yes, absolutely. So when I designed the bag, I had all my ideas together, drawing everything. I have a pattern on the Bulgarian bag. So what I was visualizing, I had the knowledge, of course, like every other coach, based on equipment that we already been trained. Plates, for example. That's why you see, these side handles are the imitation of the plates. You know how we do the rotation with the plate workout? So you can train the grip, you can do muscle target exercises that we all need. I mean, that I like mostly dynamic, these rotations, the arm throw, the snatch, that we do snatches on different way than you use the barbell. We drive the back way behind our heels, and we acceleration. It's so important. I need to talk about that later, but now talking about these handles, for example, when you're doing so much of those dynamic exercises using the main handles, the first thing you're going to feel about that, your grip is going to die, right? You already felt it, right? You have a back. Okay, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
So instead of resting and waiting until you grip to rest, you go, or at least this is how I designed the workout. I'm putting my athletes immediately on those strap handles. They can continue working out on exercises that don't require grip. That's when we're using the strap handles. So you continue with shoulder presses or upright rows, isometric holds, name it. And I have all these posted on YouTube. Then you go back to the side handles, and you can do another group of exercises that don't require too much, dynamic and just mostly brute strength exercise. Keep pressing, keep just working on the back. This is what we need in resting. Once you grip rest a little, and then you go back and start swinging that bag, or put it around your shoulder. That's the shape of the bag allows you to place it nicely on your shoulders and do exercises mostly for the lower body. But again, if you compare the weight of the bag with the barbell, it's a lot lighter. But these are the exercises that we mostly recommend athletes to try, especially talking about the wrestlers. The dynamic exercise is done mostly on the main handles. That makes sense.
And then you have some other equipment too. You have balls and all kinds of cool things. Explain how you decided to go into that lane.
Exactly. So first, before I say something about the ball, what I need to say that I was able to develop this system of the Bulgarian back training, and based on my work with the athletes, especially wrestlers. I discovered that if we add more weight into these bags, I can train other training applications besides the muscular endurance training. So that's what a few years later, after I invented the Bulgarian bag in 2005, after a few years later, I added few heavier bags towards the whole. I think I had only 3 bags at that time, like 17 pound, 26, and 37. Then later I added the 50 pounder, and then a year or two later I started to increase the weights, because I started to use the Bulgarian bags for a strength training. And then even a few years after that, I discovered the Suples ball, which I consider as the evolution of the Bulgarian back, because we all complain about the grip, okay? And the ball is giving us a great chance to save our grip, but to target our lungs, our cardiovascular, our conditioning by performing these slams. But also, if you look at the signature exercise on the Suples ball, they're imitation of the Bulgarian back, but they're a lot more dynamic. It's harder to keep the ball under control if you don't have the technique. And once you already have experience working with the Bulgarian backs, it's quite easy, and that's the proper way to learn. It's to learn first the exercise with the back, talking about these dynamic exercises, and then go on the ball. But there's no brainer to learn how to slam, how to perform these slams, just the simple variations of slams that we're doing with this ball. I can teach people they can just copy me, or if they can't do it, I have posted videos on YouTube. They can just watch, listen my instructions, and they can perform those slams for a few minutes. So it's all system, and it takes time for people to understand what we're doing. And for those who are really looking to look in and have expressed interest about Suples, they need to connect with us and watch the videos or write us questions and get to know more what we're doing. Because the one thing I want to say is people understand what we're doing is, I have no idea just to create some equipment to get you tired. It doesn't make sense to me. I can have tons of equipment, or we can bring someone else down from the street that has no idea about wrestling or performance or training. Say, hey, listen, blow this whistle and just destroy these guys. Here are the exercises. I show you. Go kill them. And he'll do that. But are we going to get the same effect? Definitely not. And that's what I'm trying to do here with Suples. Now I have people following us, and they want us to learn more into details. So I start packaging this information and giving them my knowledge, so they know how to use Suples effectively. And that's some time. It takes some time for that. But if we are in good communication and people are following us, what we're doing, we're also offering the courses, workshops or clinics, whatever you want to call it. We have a lot more educational materials now to offer. We will be able to be in a good understanding with athletes, coaches, and parents, especially talking about the wrestling performance, how to use Suples more effectively.
You're from Bulgaria. How did you end up in the United States?
A long story. I'm writing a book about this, so someday I want to share my story. But I was brought here from USA Wrestling, and especially I have to mention my dear friend Steve Frazier. Steve Frazier and multiple athletes at that time living at the Olympic Training Center, starting from my first American friends, Ray Brinzer, Dennis Hall. I trained with Dennis, 92, I arrived in Wisconsin. Dennis Hall and Sunkist Kids, Joe Corso, the manager, they all made arrangements for my visit. I spent 6 months. I actually ended up spending more time. Like 7 months I was in Wisconsin working with Dennis Hall, even visited Garrett Lowney and a bunch of other athletes. But mostly I was stuck with, training with Dennis. That's why the purpose was there. So Dennis and I trained, built good friendship together. Then because of my relationship with Dennis, Steve Frazier, later we met at the European Championships in Budapest, and we talked about this. Actually, Mike Houck also knew about me, and we met in Paris at the Europeans, and we planned my next trip coming to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. I met more athletes at that time, you know, Chris Saba, Jim Grunwald, Isaac Ramaswamy, Surovchik. I mean, all of these guys, I will miss someone. Kevin Bracken, you know, was one of the guys. Then I connected with the U.S. Army, training with Sean Lewis, Derek Waldrop, and Nazarenko, the Russian coach at that time. They brought me to train with the athletes at Fort Bennings in Georgia, and I started this traveling to United States and back and forth Bulgaria, and then Frazier and I really connected, and he really saw me as a beneficial coach and a training partner for the resident team in Greco especially, and we planned my permanent stay and process to get my work visa and green card and so on. So back in '97, and I've been here since.
So over the course of time with you with these Suples bags, what's been some of the feedback you've gotten that you're most proud of?
The feedback from who? From the wrestling?
Yeah, from people that use the bags. Like, what have they said that allows them to get benefit that you've appreciated that you use as positive feedback?
Well, the wrestlers, here's the feedback. Some people who are like thinking like me, basically, I'm a type of guy who always looks for something new. What is more effective? How can I make my training much more effective and then shorten the process of getting to my goal, you know, and being able to offer to my athletes something new, because I never ever traded my athletes as a robots. And that's what, you know, sometimes I see we place YouTube videos, and I see some comments to some dudes who have no idea what we're doing and say, oh, I like the old-fashioned old way, no equipment, and they start comparing us with some other, you know, like athletes who didn't have all of these luxury what I have now. I agree with them. I also grew up this way. But people are not robots. And look at what's happening to our wrestling rooms now. I don't care what country you send me, it's the same thing. Naked mats, some over there, some people have a pull-up bar or few climbing ropes are hanging out there. That's all. Here and there, some dummies. They're not even effective. They're just mostly destroyed old dummies. They don't know what to do with them. And what I was able to do with Suples, and that's why I'm connected with you guys to help me get my message out there, because people don't understand what I'm doing. I'm trying to bring new ideas to renovate the wrestling rooms, because our sport has no updates. Think about this. It's all the same. I just came from India and Japan. It's all the same. I'm watching their boring workout, warm-up with rolls, cartwheels, and all the other things that every nation knows already. And it's the same thing here in the United States. Go to any program, you see mats, and that's it. And we all rely on strength and conditioning coach to handle in our preparation, which is great. But I tell you what, a lot of times that brings the very knowledgeable coaches in conflict with the strength coaches, because the strength coaches are there only a few hours a week to train the athletes on fitness exercises, and there's no always a good communication between the head wrestling coach and the strength coaches, and most of the time, in my opinion, this can be in conflict and affect the wrestlers, because either it's not enough or it's too much what they've been doing. So I mean, I can talk a lot about this, but But anyway, it's a process. I'm very happy to be here on this podcast because at least I'm starting to get my message out there. What is in Ivan Ivanov's head? Why he's doing this with Suples? And it's the last thing. It's I want to make sure that people understand that I'm not trying to just sell something. That's why I don't want to have certain products on my store, because if I have a product there, I must believe 100% in this, and I need to tell you why I have this product in my store. It has to be in the system of Suples. If it's not in the system of Suples, I don't need this. I don't need this product just to have something to sell. It doesn't make sense to me.